President Cyril Ramaphosa has retained his title as Mzansi's most favoured politician. According to the South African Citizen Survey, 64% of South Africans believe he's doing a good job. Reza Omar, director at Citizen Surveys, talks to us from our Cape Town studio. Reza Omar, good to talk to you. Tell us more about your findings.
Well, we looked at Cyril Ramaphosa over the long term. Over the year of 2019, what we observed is his favorability rating, that's the proportion of South Africans who are favorable towards the president, remained at 62%, despite all the difficulties facing him during the year.
And did they explain why they still have this favorable rating?
Well, one of the things we know is that despite all the difficulties, President Ramaphosa came out unscathed. There are other political leaders that we measured, and what we observe is the second most favorable political leader in South Africa is Tito Mboweni, followed by Privan Gordhan at 28% and David Mabuza at 24%. In comparison to all the other political leaders, Cyril Ramaphosa is still the highest, and despite all the challenges, especially with Eskom, President Ramaphosa emerged unscathed. He is not blamed for the problems facing Eskom. Rather, South Africans are looking towards President Ramaphosa for solutions to guide us through this most challenging period of the South African democracy.
Tell us more about the questions that were posed.
Well, we asked a series of questions. One of the questions that we asked South Africans was, do you believe the country is heading in the right direction or the wrong direction? And the proportion of South Africans who told us that the country is heading in the right direction at the beginning, in April 2019, was only 22%. That is one of the lowest levels in the 26 years of South African democracy. Subsequent to that, there was the 8th May national and provincial elections. And what we measure is that the indicator goes from 22% all the way to 38% as South Africans became more optimistic about the direction the country was heading. But as the year progressed, that indicator started to fall again and ended the year at 28%. 28% of South Africans believe that their country is heading in the right direction, 10% lower than the election high.
All right, and did they express what they would like to see? Is there anything that would help Cyril and Tito and the rest improve their popularity rating?
Well, South Africa is facing a series of major challenges, one of them being Eskom. What we observed is that Eskom's favorability rating during the first period of load shedding at the beginning of 2019 dropped from 56% down to 35%. Again, the trust in Eskom started to rise post the election period, but it started to fall subsequently and ended the year off at 44%. So one of the issues that the president is going to have to tackle is the issue of Eskom. We asked South Africans, who's to blame for the Eskom crisis? South Africans said it was Eskom's leadership who didn't do their job properly, 1/3. The municipalities who didn't pay Eskom its money on time, followed by the government. So one of the things that we observed, we asked the same question in April. And this time around, in April, there was a proportion of South Africans who blamed Ramaphosa for the Eskom crisis. However, in November and December, South Africans didn't blame President Ramaphosa for the Eskom crisis. Rather, they recognized that he's seeking solutions. There are other major issues facing the South Africans. One of the most important problems facing South Africans is unemployment. Unemployment reached the highest level since 2003, followed by crime, corruption. Now, the president promised over the previous SONAs that he was going to bring the perpetrators of corruption to heel. However, there hasn't been major movement on that front. and then it is poverty and destitution. So these are the hardships facing South Africa and their concerns. And these are some of the issues that the President is going to have to address in the State of the Nation address.
Well, thank you for talking us through your findings, Reza Omar. Let's get